My name is Maya, and I'm with the Not in Our Name project, as well as the Foundation Against Police Brutality and Racism. Police brutality did not die after 9/11. Rather, it has intensified and spread its wings to include brutalizing.
¿Quién habla español? Bienvenido. Hoy es el Día Nacional de Protesta para parar la brutalidad policial, la represión, la criminalización de una generación. Estamos aquí con personas a través de la policía quien matan y brutalizan a la gente, no son héroes. Esta es la realidad para los 114
Ferguson. He was killed March 1st of 2000 by street crime unit Luis Rivera. It hurts me to stand here and see so many police out here. I don't understand why they're even here. I mean, we really don't need their supervision. I mean, we out here to protest what they're doing to us. I mean, the fact that we have to even come out here and be supervised by the same people that's hurting us, it's a shame. And I'm telling you, it hurts me that I have to stand here with a picture of my son instead of him standing with me. Rivera took my son on March 1st. My son never did nothing to Luis Rivera, but because Rivera was a cop, he walked. I mean, he literally had no reason for executing my son. He didn't murder him, he executed him. He put a gun to my son's head, and my son never knew what hit him. And I am still now trying to fight for justice for my son. I have met so many parents in this last 2 years to come back and fight for what's mine. Thank you.
I'll introduce the people who have made this happen 7 years in a row. And we're going to see it happen another 7 years. So without any further ado, I want to bring up Kathy Chung and also, once again, Juanita Young from the...
Brutality! No more police brutality! Say it out loud so all the police officers who have surrounded us here is loud and clear. No more police brutality!
And we've been fighting to call for solidarity between our communities. Now is the time that immigrant communities and other people of color need to come together more than ever. Now is the time that we have to link police brutality to immigrant rights. Police brutality to INS detention to the prison industrial complex, because these are not separate issues. They want to criminalize, lock us all up, and they're using the police. They're using the police to do this, to target us. Whether it's the NYPD, the FBI, the INS, these are all the same police forces. They're working together for the same purpose. And we've seen this now more than ever. If you ask the Arabs and Muslims, over 2,000 of them in this city alone that have been incarcerated, pulled out of their homes in the middle of the night, locked up, taken away, disappeared by the INS, the FBI, and the NYPD. If you ask them what's the difference between the NYPD, the FBI, and the INS, they'll tell you nothing. They're all the same. When the cops come into people's homes in the middle of the night, they come in 15 deep. They bring in 15 men. They storm down the doors. They interrogate wives, women, children, husbands in separate rooms. They ask them questions like, are you Muslim? Do you know Osama bin Laden? How many times a day do you pray? And then they take people away and disappear them. Nobody knows the difference, whether it was an NYPD officer or an INS officer or an FBI officer, because the lines are all the same.
It's good to see a crowd out here today on October 22nd's National Day of Protest to stop police brutality, the repression and the criminalization of a generation, which is what's going on here in New York City and around the world. Nicholas Jr. was only 13 years old when he was gunned down by a New York City police officer in September 1994.
Another flag minus stars and stripes, replaced by a spoke and wheel so we can turn this thing around. We need our feet on the ground, not jet fighter pilots pumping poison in the sky. We need prayers of peace, not Texas Chainsaw Massacre madmen telling us we need to die for their country to be free. We need to see from sea to shining sea the rhetorical manipulations of leaders from nations who want to control natural elements used in development of computer chips so they can take more trips in expensive ships to Miami, Monte Carlo, or the moon.
Because the U.S. rulers are today unleashing a juggernaut of war and repression on us and on the world. And in the face of all that, it is crucial that we step up the fight to stop police brutality. It is crucial because the pagan forces for this rotten capitalist system are beating down, locking up, and even killing our people even more than they did before. Look at that poster back there. Police brutality didn't die on September 11th. That's real. Those are people's lives. On top of the same kind of shit, people being rounded up, interrogated, detained, and even deported just for where they came from, what religion they practice, or who they might look like. That's what that comes down to. On top of that, they want to give their police departments, their FBI, their CIA, and some other letters you want to throw in there, more power to spy on us, to harass and disrupt our movements on people. We got to fight to get rid of it through revolution. That's what I say. Now, I know revolution is a hard way to go, and some people might say you're going too far, Brother Dix. But I say to you, look at how far this goddamn system is going. We got to meet their attacks, and we got to build the kind of movement that can take it on, get rid of this shit once and for all. What we got to do, whether you agree that that's the solution or not, sisters and brothers, though, is we got to get together and we got to build resistance. And I know it's not easy right now to talk about taking on police.
Shootout! I said bullshit! There was no shootout. There was an execution by Patrick Bronson and James Crow, former bodyguard of Mayor Giuliani. Mayor Giuliani decided that he was going to protect these criminals in blue. And Mary Jo White did the same thing. Investigated my case for 4 years and a half. 4 years and a half. She thought that I was going to back down and get tired of my fight. But I'm still here fighting. And in my fight, a director and a producer decided to make a film about my story. Because I am a woman that will not give up. I met people who serve in the grand jury who are speaking in this film against the Justice Department, against the police who decided to cover up. Patrick Bronson and James Crow retired with 75% on their pension, while my son lays dead underground and my nephew. Justice will be served because I'm here to fight until death do me part. Thank you.
And next, I would like to bring up an important coalition that formed after 9/11, because after 9/11, a 9/11 went out to the Arab, Muslim, and South Asian neighborhoods who were going through some things that others who had been here had also gone through.
Me or my house without a huge hug and a kiss and an I love you, Aunt Chris. Even on the days that I gave him so much grief about the life he was living, on March 11, 2002, Jason was involved in a foot pursuit that ended with him putting his hands on a wall. And Jason turned either on his own or by command, and Corporal Baldy shot and killed him. The forensic reports state that the officer was 50 feet from my nephew and that my nephew was unarmed. Corporal Baldy just didn't care. Jason was so close to the wall that the force of the bullet pushed his head into the wall, where he sustained a huge knot on his head and bruise still visible at the funeral.